I think two things would happen. I'd allow you to make a cheese store, and then if you're like, this is what we're doing the rest of the campaign, I would end the campaign.
We gotta go hunt down Dave Wandy.
Yeah, if you wanted to go hunt
he's a
down Dave
mystery.
Wandy, I actually think if you guys decided to go hunt down Dave Wandy, I'd probably end the campaign and do something else. And I'd be like, oh, this can be like a one shot every now and then. We continue that storyline, but that storyline is not pertinent to the world and kind of the events that are going on. Like, I would literally be like, all right, Bahamut wins, it's over. You don't find Dave Wandy because you're dead, or whatever. You just said it was truffle. And truffle, we don't take fake chocolate truffles. We only do real mushroom truffles.
Listen to this, everyone. It's melted ice cream.
Beyond the Tavern Wall. Sure, we'll go ahead with that. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Beyond the Tavern Wall, we're excited to have you guys today. I'm Brayden. You know who I am. You know who Hunter is. You know who Kendall is. And you know who Sam is. And guess who you don't know? Haley, because she's out about doing things.
I know Haley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you do know Haley, too. But, hey, she's out and about. She's doing things. She's not able to join us for today's episode, but we wish her the best in everything she's doing.
Things.
And we're excited for her, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really exciting. So we're not going to share it because I don't know if she wants it to be shared. So
they're signing.
She's moving to Antarctica. Sorry, guys, I had to say it. All right.
That is literally not legal.
Before we start, real fast, did you know that you can take a cruise to Antarctica and it's only $15,000 a person?
That's a lot of money.
I don't think Antarctica's worth it.
I'd rather sign as a volunteer to work at the station there.
Yeah.
It'd be so cool.
That's the way cheaper cruise.
Who needs to volunteer? That's not true. All right. We're going to be talking about, because what's the expectations between the two? One's more leisure, one's more work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in the end, isn't that like a metaphor for D&D as well? The DM, it's more work. The players, it's more leisure. Okay.
Makes sense.
The DM putting showing up every week is easy for me.
Yes. So here's the thing, okay? How do you balance the players' expectations because of that? Because it maybe not leisure. We don't say it's leisure. There are some pretty intense groups out there, and we have some pretty intense sessions. And it's probably just as much on you guys as it is on me as your guys' DM, or Kendall when you're doing the sessions. Probably just as much on your players as it is on you as a DM. So we're going to be talking about the players' expectations versus the DM's vision and expectations, and how can you balance that? All right, this is fun. When Hunter pulled out this topic, I was like, okay, because we talked about it. When was that? We talked about it about my vision for Bast and how I saw her becoming like the goddess of hope. You know, but here's the thing. You yourself, as like I said, you yourself as Kendall may not have that vision for Bast. You know, she's going to become the goddess of chainsaws.
Yeah.
Which don't exist, but they will after Bast becomes the goddess. Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. They will definitely come into being. And then also, she's decided she's also going to be the goddess of putting on new dry socks after wearing wet ones.
Oh, that's evil.
No, putting on new warm dress socks.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
You said like a fresh pair of wet socks right out of a bucket.
Fresh pair of wet socks.
Yeah, just.
What are you the god of? Missing the toothbrush when trying to apply toothpaste.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's just evil, okay? Yeah, so let's go ahead and start and jump into this, okay? Because I feel like we can get some good discussion out of this. And it will also be good for me to kind of help when we do DMs for like mini campaigns or for our actual sessions or stuff like that. So I want to first ask the question is, when you guys first came into D&D, what was your guys' expectations of your campaign or whatever it may be?
It's super cliche. Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. That's just kind of like, it's the big fantasy thing is Lord of the Rings. It's like the inspiration for D&D. So I was like, oh, cool. We're going to go on a crazy adventure. We're going to fight orcs and dark wizards and banish evil. Yeah.
And so when your first session was not like that, what did you think of after that? Where did your expectations go?
Honestly, like I still had really high expectations. Like I still was loving how the story was feeling. It was different than what I thought, 100%. Uh, but honestly, the environment was really cool. I loved I loved a lot of the characters that we were playing. I loved the setup, honestly, for the story was really, really well done, and I was super hyped for it.
Okay, sick. And now, again, we're kind of diverging from that story. We're moving on a little bit, but at the same time, that it's still prevalent. So there's still a little bit of that stuff. Kendall, Sam, what were your guys' expectations going into your first session?
Dude, I was terrified.
You were also like, this was the first time you'd met any of us.
Yeah, the
No, it
only
was not.
person I knew,
Okay,
the only
most
person
of
I
us,
knew in my first session of D&D was Kendall and Daniel.
and that's a good crew to know.
Correct. And
think
and
so.
now me and Daniel are just by a prospect of the universe, we are engaged, marriaged, and we have died together. Our lives are intertwined.
That's a new one.
I was terrified. I was trying to have as little interaction as possible, honestly. But my expectations, I definitely wanted to see what real D&D combat was like, because all I knew was literally Stranger Things. I've never experienced an actual D&D session before that. I haven't even listened to any D&D podcasts by that time.
And now here you are on your own D&D podcast.
Yeah, now I hate Stranger Things because they give D&D like the worst track record.
They gave it a
It's a
bad track
different
record, but they
edition.
also saved it. Like they brought
Yes.
D&D to the forefront. 100%. Kendall.
Yeah, I would say mine was similar to Hunter because I remember you unofficially gave me homework to watch Critical Role.
Did I?
Yeah, you did, but that I remember you saying this is not how our sessions are going to be. They're professionals. And I was like, "Okay." But then my brain was like, "Oh, this is going to be amazing." After watching Critical Role.
Wait. Your homework was to watch Critical Role?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make a goofy analogy here. That's like in preparing for a elementary level chalk art contest, you sent Kendall to go watch professional artists prepare.
So the reason I send people to watch Critical Role is one, I think Critical Role is a good base podcast. Like they just specifically campaign 2. Like it's just, yes, obviously they are like experts at role play and improv, but when it comes down to the mechanics of D&D and what you do, they do very well at that. I wouldn't send them to Dimension 20. I think Dimension 20, I love Dimension 20. I think it's too theatrical, if that makes sense. Like it's way too what's the word I'm looking for? They do a lot more cinematic with it. Like there's a lot more to it than just D&D. I don't know if I'd send them to Legends of Vantris. I think actually Legends of Vantris might be a good one to send to. I don't think I've actually ever watched an episode, but I've seen clips. So
I love them. No,
So,
I,
yeah.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying now. Okay.
no, but I 100% agree. That's why I preface this will not be how our sessions are because we are not professional voice actors, improvisationalist, sure. But yeah, it maybe does set the expectation a little bit too high, but
Mhm.
it helps people kind of understand role play and what they can do. So
Yeah.
So
I
you
retract
expected
my
Critical
statement
Role.
then.
No, your statement's still right. I agree. It is like sending a elementary school person to go watch Van Gogh. So you were expecting critical level
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, and I was expecting a faster pace as well.
Yeah, well, we can fix. That's something we can fix.
Yeah.
That's more on me than anything else. But yes, a faster pace.
Mhm.
All that. And as you can see, we have out of you 3 people just right here, 3 different expectations of D&D.
Mhm.
But then you also have to include the 4th person, the DM, the person who is running the campaign. The narrator of the campaign, putting all the stories and all that in there. Like again, I've talked about a lot. My vision has changed over time with the campaign. Originally, I always kind of thought Bahamane would be the big bad guy, but I also had to come to terms where if they finish this ritual, like where does that go? And if they stop the ritual and Bahamane does come back, where does that go? So you have to as a DM kind of keep adapting your vision. Because I personally think if a DM is so focused on their vision and they're not on the same page as their players, then it becomes a railroaded campaign and the DM should just write a story. If I'm just guiding you, if I had instead not allowed the group to go follow Everin and force you guys to go fight the Draco Hydra, not worked. If I instead was like, oh, you guys can't stay in the Golden Sigil or whatever. Oh, no, the Corsair Valley, this specifically has to happen. You can't be the boogeyman. You're not allowed to, where does player agency come into that? And your expectations get kind of shot. So here's the question is we'll just ask the main question of the title right here is how do you balance that? A balance between the mismatch expectations that flow from players to the vision and expectation of the DM that the DM has.
I think it's got to go back, for me at least, all reliable communication, talk with each other, please. I feel like, at least for me, it's that simple, is communicating back and forth, especially as a player. If you're not enjoying the campaign, talk with your DM. This is meant to be a fun thing for everybody. Talk with them, see if there's kind of a level ground that you can find to make sure that everybody is still able to do what they want to do, but everybody's still able to have a good time and not feel dragged down.
That's the one thing I appreciated that Kendall did specifically is we talked about this a little bit beforehand. Kendall doesn't like dark things like horror and that stuff. But she brought up to me once is like, hey, this is just kind of feeling dark and all that. Like I don't feel good leaving this. So it took a while, but we've eventually got to a place where there are a little bit more winds. There's not as much dark. I feel like personally, we're getting to a better place where it's not just darkness, all that stuff.
No parents.
Darkness. Where there is some more joyous things that are going on. Bast now has a little bit more hope, learning what she did about in the last session we did because we haven't played since the last time we recorded. But all these different things, and that probably would not have happened as fast. It probably would have happened, I'd like to believe, but I don't know. So if Kendall had not brought that up, or you guys had not brought that up.
Yeah, when I come to D&D, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels this way, but when I come to D&D, I come for an escape, and yes, every good story needs dark spots and dark parts, right? Because that's how we know that things are bad. And that just makes the hero's triumph even better. But yeah, you do definitely need that balance, and you do need to talk to your DM about that. But don't feel bad about it when you talk to your DM. There are some bad apples there who are probably going to be like, well, it's my story, so get over it. But most of the time, I think your DM would be more than happy to sprinkle in some humor and some brevity. Brevity? No, levity. Yes.
Some unleavened bread is what you're trying to say.
Yes.
No, I agree with that 100%. So I think, Sam, do you have anything? I've talked a lot. Sam,
No, I've got nothing.
there's nothing going on up there.
No, yeah, I've got an empty head, man.
You got the noggin not working, AO.
Dude, if my brain was an empty
otter
room
pop.
with just a glass floor, you could roll a marble infinitely across that floor. It would never hit anything. There's nothing in there.
Goodness.
Good analogy. Jeez.
Wow.
That's gracious.
I think another thing, you bring up communication, and I think communication starts at session 0.
Mm.
I
Yep.
think this is something, and I'm going to bring up Kendall again because Kendall, we've been playing the longest together. You created Bast with the idea of it was going to be a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Right? You were going to be Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
You were going to be out there hunting treasure, fighting
Solving
Nazis,
puzzles,
like fighting the
shooting
last
Nazis.
crusade. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm depressed. And
The real
he
treasure
killed
was
my
all
god.
of the tragedies
No
and
one's
lost
face-
friends along the way.
Yeah, no one's face has been melted off by looking at a sacred artifact yet, and I'm kind of pissed off.
We can make that
Keyword
happen.
yet.
Okay,
You are going to an ancient city soon, so who knows?
true.
But
We'll do
so
it.
I think this is a huge fault on my end. That when I started this campaign 4 years ago, I did not sit down and say, this is the tone of our campaign. This is everything that is going, like not everything that is going to happen, but this is the theme we're going for. This is the tone. It is going to be, there's going to be a little bit of exploration. There's treasure hunting, but there's also, you're starting out in a spiritualist thing. There's a little bit more like mystery and the supernatural. But instead it was, this is what we're doing. What are your characters? Any questions? Okay, good. And you guys were kind of left with nothing of what the campaign was going to be.
Mm.
So I think session 0, where you can set that tone and set the theme and then also like the difficulty and all that stuff is just so essential, where then the expectations are all kind of then leveled at the same place. It's okay, we have a base of what's going on. This is what we're getting into, instead of, oh, we're going to go on treasure hunting. Oh, it's Lord of the Rings. Oh, I'm really nervous and don't want to say anything. 3 different levels of expectations. Or then for me, having the expectation of, oh, here's some supernatural spiritualism. You're going to be fighting mud monsters or whatever. The mud monster from Spirited Away.
Whenever you
But
say mud monster, I think of the monster in the well in the Brothers Grimm, because that thing gave me nightmares as a child.
mhm. Yeah, but then it just allows those expectations to be set together.
Yeah.
So how much flexibility though should it be on both sides? Okay, for a DM, how flexible should their vision be for you guys as the players?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to bring up after you just brought up that last point. Is what if you had this great story plan, but then Kendall was like, no, we are going to go treasure hunt. We are not going to go do anything else. Is that acceptable? Because at that point, is it fun for the DM? Is this them just showing up to fulfill their players' fantasies, or are they having fun telling a story with their friends?
It's hard because I believe in player agency to the T. Like, you guys could go do that. But I think there is a responsibility of the players to kind of go along with the story that's been prepared. But if the DM's doing good and you've talked about in session 0 your expectations, like, oh, I want to do some treasure hunting or whatever it may be, well, then the DM should put a little treasure hunting in there. Instead of Bass being like, no, I want to go treasure hunt. I don't want to follow any of the spiritualism arc. I just want to go look for the lost arc, or whatever, and melt my face off.
Yeah.
Like, as a DM, I'd be like, okay, like I can work with that and we can build the story around that. But I also I personally feel like there is a little bit of responsibility of the players to kind of go along with the DM, but also keep their agency at the same time.
Yeah, it's the rule of improv of yes and.
Mhm.
Right? Because at the end of the day, we are doing this together. And in order for everybody to feel heard and to have fun, we need to we need to build on top of each other's ideas instead of saying no, but.
Yeah, we don't like butts.
We hate butts
Are
here.
awful.
Yeah. Right, Hunter?
Hunter, do you disagree?
Oh.
He's real quiet.
Oh, no.
Hunter's struggling on this one.
Butts are nice. That's all I have to say. That's it from my comment.
That's going
And
in
he
the
was
clip.
never heard from again.
You can quote me on that. Butts are nice.
That's new merch.
Sticker!
There we go.
Yeah,
Put
come back
on my
early and
freaking
butts are
gravestone,
nice.
please.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I think at the same time, like a DM has to be willing to bend to their players, though.
Hmm.
Both sides require flexibility. It is very much so sharing the reins. Because I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen those horse-drawn carriages. If one person is sitting there trying to pull and just take control of everything, it's not going to go well. It usually won't. But if you're sharing it with each other, things will go steadily. You'll be able to steer. There might be a little correction here and there, but you keep each other in check, and everybody gets to travel safely. And that's what's important.
Here's a question.
Okay.
Do you think one side has to be more flexible than the other?
I don't
And
think it's
why?
healthy to think of it that way. I think
Okay.
I think flexing yourself for your group equally is
I would
very subjective. One person will say, "Oh, I'm doing it more than you're changing for me." I don't think it's healthy to try to measure it.
Okay.
personally like that's a fine opinion to have. Personally, I almost feel like the DM has to bend a little bit more. I don't feel like it's like a marginal error like DM is bending over backwards that their players every whim and desire. But I mean, for the sake of the game and for sake of everybody having fun, they do, I feel, tend to need to adjust their plans a little bit more to what their players are wanting to do.
Yeah. If you guys wanted to go make a cheese store, I think two things would happen. I'd allow you to make a cheese store, and then if you're like, this is what we're doing the rest of the campaign, I would end the campaign.
We gotta go hunt down Dave Wandy.
Yeah, if you wanted
No,
to go hunt
he's a
down Dave
mystery.
Wandy, I actually think if you guys decided to go hunt down Dave Wandy, I'd probably end the campaign and
Yeah.
do something else. And I'd be like, oh, this can be like a one shot every now and then. We continue that storyline, but that storyline is not pertinent to the world and kind of
Mhm.
the events that are going on. Like, I would literally be like, all right, Bahamut wins, it's over. You don't find Dave Wandy because you're dead, or whatever I decide happens. You know, I think that would honestly be a fun like mini campaign, 100%. Um, but in the end, I agree with Hunter a little bit. I agree you shouldn't measure it because if you're measuring it, if I'm over here like, oh, I've bent 33 times for the players and the players have only bent 2 times for me, I deserve more. You know, like I don't think that's a good way to think about life in general. Like if you're over there calculating, oh, my friends, I've done this X amount of times for my friends and they haven't done anything back for me. That's just not healthy for your mental health just in general or your
Yeah.
relationships. So in D&D kind of a similar thing. I agree with Hunter as well though, where the DM has to be the one that's more flexible because in the end they are just the narrator, you know?
Mm.
Like they're more than the narrator. They're the creator. I like calling them a narrator because it's kind of what they do. They set up and then they narrate what happens. And the players are the ones who can decide we're going to make a cheese shop or we're going to follow this. And then the DM has to adapt to that.
Within limits.
Yeah. Again, that's why I said if you guys want to make a cheese shop, I'd just end the campaign, and that's where my limit is. You know, like
Mm.
I don't think it'd be probable where you guys literally like start a cheese shop, but if that's what you do for every single session after that, that's when you end the campaign. But if it was just like kind of a side hustle, sure, why not? You get someone to run it for you, and you collect money off it, and that's how you get some passive income. That's totally fine. You know,
Mhm.
it's when it becomes detrimental to the campaign and the health of DM, the health of the group, where you're just like, all right, we need to stop this and redo. In the end,
Mm.
So
it kind of happened with. Go ahead.
Oh no, you could finish it up because this is gonna be a discussion thing.
Oh, I was gonna say it kind of happened with Wednesday night group, where we kind of just got to a point where the health of the group was not healthy, where we stopped it, and the direction that it was taken was like, okay, we're gonna stop this, and we're gonna merge most of the group with Monday night group.
Mhm.
So I do have a little topic to bring up. Uh, with kind of player agency. I know this might get me. Y'all can attack me. I don't freaking care.
Strider's gonna die if you
Words.
say something wrong.
Oh no!
I'm so scared.
Shiver me timbers. I know that it is. It seems to be increasingly, well, at least it was increasingly popular to ban players from playing Arcocras in games. Mostly because DMs didn't want to deal with, oh, I'm flying like 50 feet up in the air. You can't get me.
Mhm.
Is that almost kind of a DM saying, okay, cool, this ain't your story anymore. You can't do what you want to do? Is that too far? Personally, I think it is. Because
Ooh.
there are plenty of creatures out there that have ranged attacks. There are definitely plenty of flying creatures. You're gonna have to get a little bit more creative. And I mean, heck, you can homebrew some creatures. Give them wings.
There's even a bunch of ways to punish flying creatures.
Oh, 100%. There's a
Yeah.
ton of different ways that you can deal with flying creatures. But I feel like DMs just straight out banning a race because they don't want to deal with flying is too far.
Yeah. Mhm.
I agree, and also I'm going to agree and disagree if that makes sense, if that works. I agree that you should allow the player agency. The second thing is you guys need to go against Farron in our Kakra played by Daniel. It is
Well, there's
so
Daniel as
hard
well.
to balance for someone who is, because in a sense they have two movement speeds that they can use on their turn. They have their flying movement speed that they can use, and then their movement, their normal. So they can move probably like, what is our Kakra's moving speed? Is it? I believe it's their same as their movement speed. So it'd be
Yeah, I believe they have
30 flying. They have 60 feet of movement just on their turn, and like usually, like, yeah, there are some people who can get that high with bonus actions and having that. That's just base from level 1. A flying character is not fun to go against because there's just, and yes, you can bring a flying person in, and I agree with that. I don't find them as terrible as some people. I don't think you should outright ban them. But I also, you guys need to go up against a flying character, like from a player's perspective that has more. 'Cause monsters have a lot, but they don't have as much as players.
100%.
Players in
I do
2024 are
understand that.
insane. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like you guys
Yeah.
are correct. Like the monsters, I like where they moved some monsters. I think overall the monsters did not get enough sufficient buff to counteract the absolute insanity of a world tree barbarian.
Mm,
Like,
Like
yeah, World Tree's kind of nuts.
like just being able to teleport everywhere. I also think it depends on the world.
I
There
think
are
it's fair.
like I think if they were specifically banning Aarakocras, owlins, and fairies, that's a little targeted against flying creatures, and then you're flyest, and we don't like those people. But I don't think if it's a problem. If like there's been some worlds I've created where it's like, okay, these are the playable races because those are the races that exist in my world. It's not me trying to be like defeat your mechanics or your creativity. It's more of a, in my mind, this is what happens. This is what the world looks like. As the DM, it is the world I created, and that should be fine. And I think that's what it goes back to, setting those expectations back into your session 0 as well. So I agree with you, but I also think it's up to the DM's discretion.
I can see a lot of your perspective. So that brings up kind of, I feel like, a good closing point where we can kind of start wrapping things up. How often should you check in? Because we know that session zeros are a big thing, but should you have like personal one-on-one check-ins as a group? How would you format that?
If I were to start DMing, I would always be open to one-on-one check-ins whenever needed. Like a take as required kind of prescription. But maybe like a monthly check-in, just say, hey, how's everything doing? Any issues, any complaints, any suggestions?
And I think
I don't know if
I think
monthly is too much or too little. I'm not a DMing expert here.
I will say you don't need to have like a sit down, like we're gonna have a
Come to my
30-minute
office.
chat.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
take a
come
few
to my
minutes.
office and I'm gonna sit here with my notepad and stare at you while you complain to me or just stay silent. Because I know that from personal experience, not necessarily with D&D, there are definitely times that I just don't want to go and announce my grievances because I don't want them to get pissed off
Hmm.
or anything of that sort. So how would you also deal with players that don't want to go and communicate their expectations?
All right, guys, you can just throw it on me right now. That's fine.
Well,
Just go ahead. I understand what
I'm
Hunter's doing
really
with
pissed
this. Just
off.
kidding.
I'm
I can't.
really pissed off that Henry Cavill isn't playing with us, and I think it's your
Okay,
fault.
I
that's
reached
valid.
out. I couldn't get him. Daniel Radcliffe was really close, but he ended
Daniel
up.
Radcliffe.
He had some. Yeah, he had some other things pop
I'm
up.
shaking my
So.
head, but I love that man. So
Well, I'm just disappointed we're
No,
not level 20 already.
yeah, you're right. My
That's
bad.
my
I just
Yeah.
annoyance.
leveled you guys up
Gosh.
like 10 levels in 3 sessions. My bad.
yeah.
um,
Yeah, it was 5.
this one I'm torn a bit against as well because I get and understand D&D is a form of therapy. I, as a DM, am not a therapist.
Yeah.
I might
Oh,
be
absolutely.
therapist sometimes, but just kidding.
Ayo.
But like I do think it comes to a point where the DM does have the responsibility of making sure all their players are comfortable. I sometimes I feel like people will bring in the drama from outside into D&D, and that's not a DM's
Yeah.
like
Job. Yeah.
job to fix that. It's actually something I've struggled with a lot with a few of members in both of our groups, where it's just like I don't know, like I understand life sucks sometimes.
Mhm.
I know that just as much as anyone. Like I life sucks sometimes. We sometimes just have to, when it comes to D&D, like Kendall said, it's an escape. Throw those things out the window and allow yourself to be immersed in a world where you don't have to worry about your worldly problems. Worry
You have to
about
worry
the
about if you're gonna live.
worry about the politics that is happening in New Sandvor or the
Yeah.
rebellion that's going on in the Grimember Dominion or whatever it may be or stuff like that. Like, and that's the fun thing where it doesn't matter in your real life, but it's also fun to think about for your character.
Yeah.
I think that's a little different than what you're saying though, Hunter, where you're more talking about how are they with the D&D campaign. Um, I think if a DM senses something is going on, they should reach out and see if everything's okay and if people are having a good session. I think doing a session 0 every year is could be good. Like, all right, how are we doing? You sit down with everyone. I also like doing. I think it's almost time for it, but the player survey. I send a survey out every single year to you guys to see what you guys are liking, what you're not liking, how you're feeling about everything. Is there any problems that I need to address as a DM with the group? And it's completely anonymous, except for I can easily tell your guys's responses. So maybe it's not completely
Oh,
anonymous, but
bet
it's
you're gonna make a multiple choice this next time.
that's what I thought. I do not want to. I think what it is I see it and I don't bring up specifically who. If I bring it up and just say something I noticed from this was brought up a lot, so therefore that it's more than one person. But that's stuff I do to make sure that expectations are being kept. Because
Mhm.
if there is, I know there's been some things that have been brought up that I've had to change. I'm like, okay, this isn't going well. Let's change this up. So that's just a few things I do. I think doing a session 0, we did a session 0 once we combined groups to kind of be
Mhm.
like, we have a whole new group. Let's reset expectations. What's going on? And I also think a DM at the beginning of each session could be like, no, this is what's going to happen. Like, not maybe not no, but hey, let's do. I did this last session where I was like, guys, I want to focus up a little bit more, be a little bit more serious. I love this campaign, but it's also been going on for 4 years. So
Mhm.
let's focus up and we did wonderful last session.
Yeah.
It was a
She
really
did.
awesome
Great.
session. So yeah, I think it's just more on a case to case basis as well. Mhm.
That's fair.
Player surveys are fun though.
I think they're a very healthy thing to do.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't really. There's nothing much more I can add, but just also just speaking generally of D&D expectations is just be respectful, follow your session 0 rules, don't eat while you're talking, or don't talk while you're eating. Say excuse me, that kind of stuff.
That not at my table. Just kidding. Absolutely not. Not allowed. No, I think that's the key part. It's just honestly common sense, how you would be around other people, treat others how you want to be treated kind of deal. I don't think it's that hard to be a nice person. Some
Really
people think
isn't.
it is, but it's really not that hard to be nice. Another
feel bad for
expectation,
those
I will
people.
say, like an expectation I have that you guys don't do is you never say thank you.
Right, we literally
that
end every
true?
session by saying thank you.
No, it doesn't happen. Just kidding. I'm joking.
Okay, I'm trying to make sure I say thank you. Was I
I'm
not?
kidding. I was making fun of certain people, and
I remember explicitly that we were all like, "Oh, that was an awesome gesture. This was so great. We're so."
but you
excited to
didn't.
see
You
where
didn't.
this
You
is
didn't
going."
provide me a gift. Okay, and
I
that's
brought you
my
trolleys.
that's my D&D love language. Is when you bring me dice every session.
I brought
Every
you sour
session?
I'm
gummy
kidding.
worms.
Okay,
I'm kidding.
what
I'm
if I
kidding,
take-
guys.
What if I'll take your dice every session and I'll raise you my firstborn child?
Okay.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Am I Rumpelstiltskin? Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
If
Wow.
you kind of think about it a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I am Rumple. No, yeah, sorry, kind of off track. I apologize, but yeah.
We're gonna bring you a dice polishing kit. That's gonna be your gift.
Mm-hmm. It's all my. I actually might buy glass dice at FanX. We'll see, but yeah. I hope everyone. Any final thoughts on expectations?
Yeah.
Just in the end, everyone, just make sure you're setting your expectations. I learned this on my mission. The first thing you do when you talk to someone is set expectations. Okay, and it's very good business. It's very good practice just in general. Is whenever you're talking to someone or in an important meeting, or we'll say specifically in D&D, you sit down and say, "This is how I'm expecting it to go," and then your players say that as well, and then you can build off of a firm foundation together, and again tell these epic stories together. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast. I hope you have been enlightened on expectations. And it has been a fun discussion. I really enjoy talking. It's fun being your guys' like DM and hearing your guys' thoughts because one, it gives me ideas, and two, it helps me understand what you guys are actually thinking during the campaign when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, if you guys aren't following us on social media, or not social media, if you're not following us on Spotify, you're already listening. Hit the follow button on your respective podcasting platform. If you're not following us on social media, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Beyond the Tavern Wall, or you can reach out to us on those as well. Just those respectively. Just send us a message. We'll reply when we can. We do enjoy getting your messages, and you can also reach us at beyondthetavernwall@gmail.com. Send us an email there if you have any suggestions for episodes or comments. And as always, the best way to share this podcast is by word of mouth. You going out. Is it already me? Am I the side quest again?
Yeah.
You might be.
Holy chicken, guys! I feel like I did it 2 weeks
You do it
ago.
last week?
No, because me and Sam swapped. It's fine. I'll do it again. I have no problem. Okay. We're all looking at Hunter. Hunter, if you have failed us, you're fired. Okay.
Brother, I have
Just
a
kidding.
list. I follow this list. I do not
That's
change this
wild.
list.
That's wild. I feel like I did it when I first moved out. But okay, that's crazy. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm word of mouth. Friends, family, group chats, commenting on our social medias and stuff. That's the best way to share the podcast. And we, as always, like to give you a little side quest. All right. I don't know why that's the thing I do whenever I say side quest. So, and if you're
It's
on an audio
fun.
podcast, I literally just shimmy every time I say it.
Make fun of that
But
guy.
your side quest today is to kill him. Just kidding. The side quest, that's a joke, government. That was a joke. Your side quest today is by me. And I want you to share the podcast with someone who has a dual monitor PC setup. Because my other PC monitor broke. And this has been the most frustrating first world problem I've ever had to deal with. Okay. So if you know someone who has a dual setup monitor for their PC or laptop, because you can do that too, share the podcast with them. Thank you guys so much for coming out to the tavern, and we'll catch you back here next Wednesday. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.